That's the song. He recommends that you check out, and I can't disagree. Now, one question I want to ask you, Armin, because there are certain songs that you hear from a band that just connect right away. When I first turned on the song Tsar, within the first minute and a half, I went, I guess I'll just say it, holy shit, this is great. I mean, it was just, it just hooks you right away. Self-Blinded Eyes just from the get-go grabs a hold of you. But one of the songs that really had to grow on me and has now become one of my favorites on the album is No More Shadows. And it had me thinking as I was listening to it even earlier today, we know what it's like to have a track that we as fans listen to and go, I wasn't really digging this as much, and now it's one of my favorites. I have to imagine as somebody in a band, it's got to be something similar. Is there a song on the album, actually you can even talk about No More Shadows too, but is there a song on the album that maybe as you were writing it or as you were recording it, you're going, okay, I mean, it's probably not the best song on the album, but it's okay. And now, maybe because of the way you play it live or whatever it might be, it's now become one of your favorites to play or just one of your favorites on the album. Do you have any examples of that kind of situation?
Actually, I mean, very often this can be the case, but in this with this album and with this situation we are in now, I have to honestly say no, because in the process of writing, we really took care of just put songs on the album which we really liked a lot and which we loved, and we felt that in the total, like when you combine all of them, it would make sense as a whole, So basically, of course, I mean, when you take it out on the road and then you play songs, then yes, of course, we work more on details, and then, but also I would say that from my point of view, like, my favorites, this is also shifting. It's not, for some point of time, it might be, I named Hands Are Tied to listen to because this is one song which I really love a lot. But this is also changing. It's, for some point of time you have this song, and then a month later might be another one. But one song which I also like a lot is the. Oh, now I'm having a little. Sorry, guys.
No, it's okay.
It's a number 8.
Is it Reign of Madness or is it Nevermore?
Yeah, Reign of Madness.
Yeah, Reign of Madness is really good, actually.
I like this one too a lot because it's a bit different than the other ones, and it has a beautiful dark atmosphere to it, and this is also one of my favorites. But I guess if you would ask the other guys in the band, everybody would be saying something else, something different. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, we really tried to put an album together where all the songs, are strong, and we didn't have any leftovers.
Well, and you can tell on the album itself. I mean, there is not. I mean, I shouldn't say every album because you guys don't have that. But Biv and I, because we do reviews all the time, there's a handful of songs on an album where you go, yeah, I could have done without that one. There's no filler at all on this album. I mean, that's why it's so good. There's not one song that I go, yeah, I don't see why they did that one. There's not one. So I can't disagree with your answer also, because there's not a song I skip when I listen to it. I can tell you that. So
no, but thank you. It's very nice to hear that you perceive it that way. But that really was the goal, and we really didn't have like 1 or 2 songs left because we put all of it on the album. And I mean, there was some more ideas which we skipped, like right away at the beginning, because what we did actually is Victor had riffs and ideas, and then we just jammed and tried how it works. But everything what you can hear on the album is was really feeling very good to us. So I think it's an album which you can listen from beginning to the end, and it makes sense as a whole.
Well, Armin, I totally agree with you, and one of the things that I kind of read a little bit about you is that you're into many, many different forms of music, not just a metalhead, but you already talked about earlier playing on a classical type album and in Balkan influenced music and funk and that's awesome. And then I also read that when you moved from the Sarajevo area at about age 12 or so.
Yes.
And then you lived the next 8 to 10 years in Germany, I believe. And then eventually you made that trip back to Sarajevo, I think in about the year 2000 or so. How did that whole experience affect you musically?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, when I came to Germany, like really escaping from the war, like in the very last second, like just a few days later, it would not have been possible to go anymore. But then, I mean, the war stopped in '95, like end of '95, and for the first couple of years, my parents, for instance, they visited Bosnia as soon as it was possible, but for me, it was not really. I didn't want to go for a long time, because I felt like I was not ready for it, to really go there and face everything which I would have to see when I come there. And I mean, like that was 2001 when I finished school, was the first time that I really felt ready to go, and then I went there, and of course it was it's not easy to describe. Of course, it was very shocking and sad, to see, because when I think back of my life before the war, I mean, I was a little kid, but I still remember a lot of it, and I had a beautiful life, and then all of a sudden you are somewhere else and you need to get along and to start a new life, but everything which was there before, it's just gone, and then you come back. I mean, of course, one really beautiful thing is like to see family members again and also to see some friends again, but then it was very hard to really witness, the effects, like maybe like, what you really could see, like all the destruction, but then also on a different level, like to see what it did with the people, But then you asked me also about what kind of impact this had musically. And of course, growing up in what used to be Yugoslavia, the traditional music, it always was around you. So it was pretty natural. But when I was a little kid, I was I started to listen to Guns N' Roses or Black Sabbath, and so I didn't want to know about the traditional stuff. It was it was not considered cool by me, But when I went back in 2001, I got to hear some traditional, like some bands which combine traditional music with modern styles of music, and actually that I liked very much, because for me it was a question of finding something which is connected to my roots, which is not negative, which has a good energy, and which is not about the war, and which is not about like destruction and hatred, So it was really cool to me, and that was also the point when I started to explore, the tradition and this style of music, and up to this day, it's a part of my, musical life, I would say. Well, and it's still, I mean, if I can say some more, if I take a look into the situation down there, how is it now? It's still very complicated and fucked up and negative. And the music, for me, is still one aspect connected to my roots, which is not negative, which is very positive for me, and like also brings good energy and hope, maybe, too, So I hope this was a good answer to your question.
Oh, yeah, outstanding answer. I mean, it really, for those of us here in the States that are, pretty far removed from that, that was a kind of a great, well, not only a history lesson, but also to see how it affects you individually. But speaking of positive energy and hope for the future, one of the reasons that Jason and I started this show was to feature bands that need to be heard, and certainly you guys do too, and I think your message is getting out there. But who have you seen, either out on the road or whatnot, who's a band that you're just blown away by and you're just amazed that nobody's heard of them? Who's a band we need to hear?
Well, it's not really easy because there might be a lot of them, which I could name now. But there's one band from Germany also, and their name is Sons of Sounds. Sons of Sounds, and they are a trio, three-piece band, three brothers.
Oh wow!
Who I think, they are three brothers who I think are actually were born in Russia, so Russian guys, but they live in Germany for a long time. And I like this band very much because they have a good, how can I put it? Also have a very good energy, and they have a very interesting mix of stylistic elements. There's some prog metal, there's hard rock, there's power metal, and it's just very interesting and very, it's not they do not sound like 50 other bands, but they have something to them which is kind of original and. So this would be one band which I would recommend to listen to if you like.
Yeah, and especially
Absolutely.
being brothers, they got to be really tight sounding wise because they've probably been playing with each other their whole life. So it's
yes, and I mean with siblings, I think there's just two options. Either you have you can have a real strong bond, like those guys. They are really as one. Or you can be in the complete opposite. So there's nothing in between, I think. And with them, it's really cool to see they are they are a real good team, and they play a music which is very interesting and which is not, which is kind of original. There's something to it which I like very much.
Well, we will definitely check that out. And, of course, you're listening to According to Metal. And on this episode, I should say, is Armin Alic from Almanac. Incredibly good band. If you haven't been convinced during this interview to check them out, please do so. And Armin, by the way, real quick before we let you go, wanted to get an idea for those who are listening to the interview. How can they stay in touch with not only you, but news on the band, and what's the best way that they can kind of follow you on social media?
Yeah, I mean we have of course we do have a website which is Almanac.band, but we're also very active on Facebook, and basically if you check out our Facebook page and you can also write and comment or send messages to us, and we will respond because we are reading everything and we like to be in touch with the fans and people who like our music. So feel free to reach out and we will get back at you, of course.
All right,
Very
great.
cool.
Well, thank you so much, Armin, for joining us here on the podcast. We really, really do appreciate it. Really excited to see what 2017 and beyond has for the band. Good luck in the shows coming up, and thanks for being a friend of the program. And we'd love to have you back sometime when we got new news and new updates in the works. Sound good?
Oh, anytime. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Armin.
Thank you too. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and maybe I hope to see you sometime in the real life.
Hey, if you,
That'd be awesome.
we get to hear more and more that the States are a lot much harder to tour in nowadays. So if for some reason Almanac can ever make it their way to the States, whether the headlining or a support or however, you can bet within 1,000 miles I will certainly be there.
I will let you know. I mean, of course, we would love to come to the States and play, and sometimes wishes go true, actually. So let's hope for the best.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Armin. Keep us posted, and thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Have a nice evening.